What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric, joined with my buddy Ryan as we break down Wednesday's 9-game NBA DFS slate. Where do you even start with this slate? Like, where do we even begin? Giannis, probable, ruled out. Like, what a Clippers thing to do. And the Clippers were on the slate, and we didn't even have to worry about them. That was kind of shocking. I guess they're up 25 right now. Maybe we have to worry about that aspect of it. It's early in the second quarter, just putting it on the Trailblazers. But Miles Turner gets hurt. That was pretty bad for me. Malachi Flynn and Bembry were basically locks for me. Was fantastic. That was nice. But this Giannis news, man. This is why you have late swap. This is why you take advantage of this. I had a ton of Aaron Gordon, Stephen Curry, and Draymond Green that basically just became a bunch of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. Rayen Patnaik, how's your night going?
It could have been better. I was pretty overexposed to TJ McConnell tonight. Didn't pan out in my favor, unfortunately. On both sides, really liked the matchup for him, the minutes, and really thought he could just pay off that price tag. Pretty safe floor with an upside for sure. And we got the super floor game out of him, which is unfortunate. But I do think the Giannis slate swapping was really going to be pivotal to the slate. We'll see which buck gets there to the top. I do believe there will be a buck in the winning lineup or many more. Bobby Portis was starting, so maybe he cracks it. Additionally, it was really frustrating to see the OG Anunoby, Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell kerfuffle that happened as Montrezl Harrell got ejected. I was pretty overexposed to Montrezl Harrell over the field. Really liked the matchup for him. I figured that he was going to find a way to at least 28 minutes or so, and that didn't happen. It's just one of those games where you kind of get boned in more ways than one.
You got boned. Rayen Patnaik, direct quote, letting it be known. Yeah, I have a ton of Bobby Portis. I forgot to throw him in the mix. He's probably the guy that I have the most exposure to because on both sites, I just had a lot of power forward spots open that was either from Giannis or from Aaron Gordon or from Draymond Green, who were all three guys I was high on. Who would have thought? I recommended Draymond Green on a Live Before Lock show. How times have changed this season. But also, there are no rules in 2021, so let's get ourselves started. Get down to that bottom. I don't know why that's the segue, but it is. Get down to that bottom bar. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube, that goes a long way. And hit that notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo is going live. We are sponsored today by Monkey Knife Fight. Go check them out for all of the goodies they have going for the Masters. Tons of NBA, MLB, NHL, all the goodies every single day. Prop-based contests, you against the house. It's just lovely, lovely stuff to go out and put it together for some of that stuff. I really enjoy playing over there. I was taking a look at some of their Masters offerings. They have some Eagle prop stuff where you can pick 3 golfers, pick your buy-in level that you want, and basically just say, I want to go for the 3X number, 5.5 Eagles out of my 3 golfers combined. So stack it together with like Rahm, Rory, some of those guys. So I was giving it a look today. Pretty excited to go play over there. So go check out monkeyknifefight.com and get that Awesemo bonus as well. If you use AWESEMO, Awesemo, at checkout, you get $50 first deposit bonus. So stop guessing, start winning, but also head over to monkeyknifefight.com. Get on going here, Eric. We got lots to get to on this 9-gamer. DraftKings, we're going to start over there like we always do. Russell Westbrook, 11,100. Washington up against Orlando. I'm excited about Russ Westbrook without Bradley Beal all the time, and I will continue to be. He keeps that exact same price tag. It was strange to not see him in the winning lineup with 62 fantasy points, but I guess that's kind of what you also have to consider is that you kind of need that 60 burger minimum out of him in this spot with that salary, but on a 9-game slate, if you can afford him, even just plugging in those raw points feels pretty secure if we have enough value. Luka Doncic, 10,900 up against Houston. Houston's really bad. That line's going to be outrageous, but he's also small forward eligible, so I'd probably prefer to play him over there. And then Kyrie Irving. We have a weird thing with Brooklyn tomorrow. So James Harden, they announced, is going to be out for at least like 10 days, I believe was the number that they had listed. I don't know how they landed on 10 days, say 1 to 2 weeks, but, whatever. Such is life. Luka Doncic, when you're talking about these spend-ups, I think he's just because of that blowout risk against Houston, and Russell Westbrook up against Orlando. We'll see if Beal ends up being in, he won't be as high owned. Kyrie Irving going to garner a lot of ownership at 10,200, and that is knowing full well that Kevin Durant will be back tomorrow, but no James Harden makes a big difference. Talk to me about the top end of point guard.
Yeah, so obviously Russ gonna have a lot of interest in him yet again if there's no Beal, but that price tag has gone up quite a bit. I'd be rather to save to a guy like Kyrie or Luka, probably Luka, 10-3 price tag for a matchup against Houston. Luka should just get whatever he wants, put up a nice fantasy performance for us to take advantage of on both sides. Honestly, I think Luka's probably my favorite point guard price matchup and all things put together, the way things stand right now. Spending down a bit more over there on FanDuel, Trae Young, $8,200. I had to squint to make sure that was the right price tag over there.
I mean, he was going off today, and I was not on him, and it was nice to have that blowout happen a little bit. I will fully admit that I probably would have been dead wrong on him today had he gotten any of that fourth quarter run.
Yeah, no, he was really good today, and he has another matchup against Memphis again. So I like taking my chances on both sides. 8,800, where you get the 3-point bonus for a guy like Trae, makes a ton of sense to me right now. Luke at 10-9 over there in DraftKings is a fine option to spend up for. In the mid-tier on DraftKings, I think if Ja Morant is out, man, that's going to be really
back
interesting.
Injury too.
Yeah,
back
he's
injury. He's not
injury.
going to play tomorrow.
We'll see if it's a precautionary thing that he was just ruled out for, just because of the game. It was kind of like Memphis was up quite a bit over Utah at one point, so maybe that's the reason why they just pulled him aside. So keep an eye on that for that situation, because that'll open up things for especially Tyus Jones, who's a really good backup point guard for Memphis, who will become an instant plug and play, in my opinion, if Ja Morant were to be ruled out. And now, other guys who stand out their price tag over there, if there's no Brogdon, I'd be willing to go right back to the TJ McConnell play again in a matchup versus Minnesota. I know he burned a lot of us today, but that's when you go right back in terms of recency bias, and you just take advantage of that situation on both sides, in my opinion. How do you feel about McConnell? And can we go back to RJ Hampton again? I just want to talk about RJ Hampton. This guy is a really talented young player. When Denver made the trade for Aaron Gordon, I was upset that they had to give up RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton, before he went to New Zealand and played over there, he was the number one high school prospect in the country, and LaMelo Ball was number 2. So this guy fell in the draft. He had a disappointing year there in New Zealand.
Yeah, he played bad.
But this guy is a really good, talented player, and he's really athletic as well. So I'm really excited to see how quick he can develop there in Orlando.
His high school tape was awesome because that's really the only thing I saw. He didn't put up any numbers. He basically killed his draft stock by heading over to New Zealand, just not playing well from what it sounds like it was. I pay attention once it gets closer to the draft, and obviously during the NCAA tournament, it's fun to follow a lot of dudes, but yeah, RJ Hampton, the big problem with him is that I believe Cole Anthony, I saw a report from Orlando yesterday that Cole Anthony was possibly going to play tomorrow. And I don't know if that's true. We'll see if that's trending towards that. See anything about that?
He practiced. I don't know if it was practiced in full contact or anything, but a big step for the Magic team that probably doesn't want to play any more Jason Randle, because I don't want to play any more Jason Randle.
No, so nobody does. And the only thing worse about playing Jason Randle is playing Jason Randle at 4,300 on DraftKings. So those would both be things that I'm not interested in doing tomorrow, letting it be known. But yeah, Michael Carter-Williams, let's see, what does it say? Questionable as well. So that's an illness. I mean, they're getting the Washington bump. So, I think RJ Hampton, even with Cole Anthony and Carter Williams, I think they'll figure out a way to kind of make them the rotations. I think Dwayne Bacon probably drops down from the, 37, 31 empty minutes that he plays every single game. The problem is that Terrence Ross, as he works himself up, just is going to eat up so much usage on that team. So I really get worried that it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for Orlando tomorrow, as badly as I do want to target that Washington matchup. Now, TJ McConnell, coming off of a bad game, I am very, very curious what that ownership's going to be. We know he doesn't start. Edmund Sumner is now down to 3,500. Just saw a little bit of a drop. I believe he was 4K today, if I remember correctly, or was that just on FanDuel?
Edmund Sumner, yeah, he was 4K.
Yeah, so he's 3,500 tomorrow. So if he gets the start, plays around those 25-ish minutes or whatever he gets to, I guess what did he play today? It was lower than that. He played 18 minutes today, looking at the box score. So that's disgusting. That makes me upset. So yeah, there's no issue. You can't go back to TJ McConnell here at 5,100. His price went down too, which makes no sense because they're playing Minnesota, which is like maybe the best spot possible. Not that Chicago was bad by any means. So I'm right there with you. I think we got to have a short memory about today for a lot of reasons. We'll talk more about Indiana as we go here, specifically on this next position. You ready to move to shooting guard?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. I'm going to stick on DK here for right now because my FanDuel is being weird. But anyway, Kyrie Irving, 10,200. Shooting guard eligible over on DK like that. Bradley Beal, 9,500. Questionable for the 58th day in a row, basically. So that's enjoyable. Devin Booker, 9,300 up against Utah. And then Donovan Mitchell, 8,800 in that same matchup. So you got Booker and Mitchell facing each other. Booker all the way up to 9,300 because he keeps putting up ceiling games and kind of proving me wrong. Houston kept that game close. So 133-130. I mean, that's a big game. But I also liked Houston to cover in that spot because Christian Woodback does make this a better basketball team on the other side. But anyway, that's pertaining more to Houston. We'll talk a little bit about them in that matchup with Dallas as we go. But who do you kind of prefer between Booker and Mitchell in that matchup? And then anybody else you want to talk about on the top end of shooting guard?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kyrie Irving, who has shooting guard eligibility 10-2. I still think he can definitely put up a solid performance, even with Kevin Durant back. It's just going to be a matchup versus the Pelicans. I think he should be able to find his way to the layup anytime he wants. Spending down to a guy like Jalen Brown, I know it's versus the Knicks, but someone who has upside, I think we can take chances with him at $7,800. No issues there. Devin Booker now is $9,300. Tournaments only, was very good in the showdown performances. Ended up being the winning showdown captain the other night, a matchup against Houston, thanks to the last second free throw by him and a steal. Karis LeVert, $7,100 versus Minnesota. I'll have interest even if all those guys are still back. I'll have a ton of interest if all those guys are out, and Sabonis and Brogdon. But at that price tag, a matchup versus Minnesota, a lot of boxes are checked off for him to put up a performance that we will be content with. Spending down, Kevin Porter Jr., $7,200 versus Dallas. John Wall, I believe, is questionable. If he were to be out, we'll help him. I'll like taking my chances. Will Barton, $5,400. If Jamal Murray's still out, Will Barton's someone who I expected today to get a lot of ball handling duty. One of my late swaps that is paying off well as he has crossed the 40 fantasy point threshold. Unfortunately, that news came out before after the Boston game started, where I couldn't get off my Marcus Smart love. That I was pretty interested in rostering Marcus Smart at that FanDuel price tag. Same. So that was unfortunate with that result. But those are all solid options. And I think taking a look over at FanDuel, paying up for shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan, he burned everyone. Just going right back to him, a matchup versus Denver is a pretty solid floor option. Donovan Mitchell, 8,200. Love both of those prices for both those players, man. I prefer them much more to LeVert and Booker. So, like, a lot of prices are different on both sides tomorrow. So, being able to play on multiple sites and buying players at their cheapest is very nice, especially for tomorrow.
Yep, agreed. And so let's go through this because I think shooting guard is actually a pretty good position, and I don't think it's necessarily on the top end. Like Karis LeVert, if you were to get Brogdon and you were to get Brogdon and Sabonis out again, I think you could still play an 8,500 Karis LeVert on FanDuel, but I'm not like in love with it. Bradley Beal's 8,300. If he plays, I'm going to have a lot of interest there. Donovan Mitchell, 8,200, too cheap. DeMar DeRozan, we'll see if DeJounte Murray plays, but I mean, DeMar DeRozan is probably going to go under-owned because he didn't play very well. 7,900, I'd still be on top of that. Terrence Ross starts to play more minutes. He's 6,600. If he plays mid-30s minutes for Orlando against Washington, definitely interest there. I don't mind the Marcus Smart spot, but then really you're getting into this grouping of Memphis dudes where it's just going to be stacked if you get no job Morant. I mean, we're going to be looking at Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen, Desmond Bane. Those three specifically would all be in play. Do you have kind of a lean, not to put you on the spot here right off the bat, but I mean, Desmond Bane is somebody that I think has played some point guard as well. Not that positions are necessarily a thing. Josh Engelman repeated that for me and reiterated that, which is a good thing to always remember. But Desmond Bane, 4,200, Grayson Allen, 5,100, Dylan Brooks, 5,600. I have no problem getting to any of them against Atlanta if you get no job.
Yeah, I think also there's no D'Anthony Melton, right? So
right.
Another guy
he's out too.
ball.
D'Anthony Melton's out too. So big deal.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be out again tomorrow or not because it was just a sore leg, I believe, that D'Anthony Melton
he
missed
didn't play
game.
today, sore leg.
Yeah, so if he were to be back, I think him and Tyus Jones would be my 1A and 1B options, and then everyone else in the backcourt situation. It helps, obviously, usage for guys like Slow-Mo could get some extra ball handling duty. He was phenomenal today. Dylan Brooks will get some extra shots for sure. Valanciunas might sprinkle his way in the post a little bit more. It helps a lot of those guys out, but I think Tyus Jones at both prices, at 3,300 on DraftKings, definitely, if Morant is out, going to be one of the most popular plays, and rightfully so.
Oh, and three more guys to throw into the mix here. So obviously Jeremy Lamb is somebody, a GOAT call by Adam Scherer today. Got a little bit on Jeremy Lamb for that because 3,400 on DK is just a nice number. He's also 4,100 over there. I will say he only played 23 minutes. There's a chance coming off of three missed games in a row that they might sit him. So he might not play on the second half of this back-to-back. But if he ends up giving it a go, 25 minutes of him at 4,100 or especially at 3,400 over on DK, love it. Sterling Brown, been playing mid-20s minutes. Might be a little thin on this slate because there hasn't been a ton of upside. The only upside we've seen where he's gotten to 30-plus has been where he got 36 minutes, and I don't think that that's necessarily in the realm. But, just letting it be known, he's only 3,900 over there. The guy I got to ask you about, because this just bugs me to no end, but Mckayla played 26 minutes against Detroit in a revenge spot, if you want to call it that, had 4 steals and put up 34.6. He's 3,800 tomorrow on FanDuel, and I'm going to be fading again, and I can already feel it coming again. Is that a smart decision by me?
It'll see what the ownership comes in at. The slate is big enough where you don't have to get too crazy and outright fade him. I think just being like maybe half of the field, I think is just fine. I don't think you need to outright fade him just because we've seen what can happen if you don't play him. You can get burned. And I think just being half the field, as I have no issues doing that. At that price tag, especially on FanDuel where you're going to roster 2, and if you were to put up 30+ in a matchup versus Charlotte, I think your night's going to come to a quick end.
I mean, Jalen Horde played 22 minutes right out of the gate. Kenrich Williams played 21. He didn't play that second half. He didn't start the second half after he started the game. It ended up being Jalen Horde. I just thought that would be enough minutes to cut into Svi. But anywho, we shouldn't spend this long talking about Svi Mykhailiuk. God forbid. Anybody else you want to touch base with?
I think Devontae Graham at $6,500 versus OKC. Someone we can consider, especially over on that FanDuel price. I like that quite a bit. And spending down over there on DraftKings, it's tough to really spend down outside of Jeremy Lamb, who sticks out kind of at $3,400. But that's really about it. No one else really stands out the way things stand right now.
Nice. Well, we'll keep it moving. I'll get us flying here. We're at 18 minutes. We're going to keep it moving along. But also, we have the Masters this week. Right here. Little polo action for everybody. Masters polos all week. Use the promo code Dustin. Get Awesemo plus golf. $29.95. Get 1 month for free when you sign up using the promo code Dustin. DUSTIN, as in Dustin Johnson, as in he has a really hot wife. You should click on him for the Masters this week. Definitely a great play. Rinpack, we'll talk a little golf tomorrow. I'll be on the Live Before Lock show talking with Ben Rasa, Dr. Ben Rasa now, as we know him, and Alex Baker. You know him as the #1 player in the world. And then there's lowly little me, who's pretty good at golf sometimes. But DFS Golf is going to be the name of the game that I hope I'm really good at this week. A lot of Masters stuff coming down the pipeline, projections. We've got the syllabus that'll be coming out tomorrow afternoon. You get all of those goodies for Masters Week for the low price of $29.95, and then you get another month on top of it, which should take you up just short of the U.S. Open. But if you like our content, another free month, never hurt nobody. So definitely check that out and stop guessing and start winning. Top end is small forward. We get to bring him up. We get to talk about him for probably the first time in a month. But Kevin Durant is going to be playing, it sounds like, tomorrow. He is no longer on the injury report. He is probable to play. February 13th, the last time that we saw game action out of him. So it's been a hot second. It's been over a month and a half, or right at a month and a half. So 8,800. I like that they brought his price down a little bit there. If we hear minutes limit, that's going to be a thing. But otherwise, 8,800 with no James Harden, that looks pretty darn good to me. Brandon Ingram, 8K, questionable again. He's the one Pelly we don't have back yet. Jalen Brown, 7,700 against New York. Probably going to have to pass. I feel pretty nauseous about the Celtics after today. And then Anthony Edwards, 7,400 up against Indiana. We've talked a little bit about him. Massive minutes potential there. Just kind of depends who's going to be back from Minnesota as well. Talk to me about the top end of small forward.
Yeah, the top end of small forward is pretty nice. I mean, obviously Durant coming back. We'll see what those minutes really look like. But $8,800 Kevin Durant, he could pay that price tag off in 24 minutes, man. It's he's kind of in play even at that price tag. It's not too crazy to go to him. But obviously pivoting to guys like Jalen Brown, even Ant Edwards at $7,400, just the shot volume is through the roof. Denver's on a back-to-back. We'll see what Mike Malone does if anyone rests. But Porter Jr. is definitely in play at $7,200. No issues there. Really a fun mix and match small forward slate, especially up top. Usually we get a couple studs and then drop down, but no one priced above $10,000 tomorrow. So that makes it for a really fun slate. Outside of that, spending down, if you want to take chances on guys like on OKC and Kenrich Williams, Jalen Horde, what those minutes look like, I'm unsure of. I'd rather spend up for a little bit more for a guy like Josh Richardson at 5K who can find his way paying off by using peripherals, and then spending down in the similar price range around 5K. His teammate Dorian Finney-Smith is always up and down, super inconsistent. Tough to really have anyone really true interest in anyone below 5K over there on FanDuel. While I take a look on DraftKings at the small forward spot, we've talked about Jalen Brown quite a bit so far, so taking chances on him make a ton of sense. And other guys, obviously Luka has small forward eligibility on DK. And Miles Bridges is someone on Charlotte who is playing north of 30 minutes. Now a matchup versus Oklahoma City. I think makes her a fine option at $5,000. Pivot off of Pokuševski and Will Barton. So it makes a ton of sense for me to consider Miles Bridges as a solid play at $5,000. A matchup versus OKC. A lot of things are going in his favor to be pretty good tomorrow.
Is DFS going to do what he did last time? 8 for 17, 5 for 12 from 3, 43 DraftKings points at 5K. Can you promise me that? He's 4,500 on FanDuel, so something tells me, box score watchers, if you're going to get no Zinger in there, if Zinger ends up sitting, he's a game time decision, he's said he's feeling better and he's expected to play on Wednesday. Never mind, these are lies, so don't play DFS. But he is 4,500, letting it be known on FanDuel. Any interest there?
Yeah, he's all right. He's just kind of inconsistent at times, so we can't really go there in pure confidence. I think spending up to his teammate and Josh Richardson makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And now where's Denny Avdea listed? He's not even he's at 4,300. Yeah, so play him on FanDuel again too. Played 40 minutes last time out. If you get no Bradley Beal, Denny Avdea, 4,300 against Orlando is somebody that I will probably be having a little bit of as well. Just like I did last time. Loved him there. Anybody else you want to talk about?
No, I think we can hop on over to the power forward spot.
All right, Zion Williamson just came back. Is he going to play on the back-to-back? We shall see. Something tells me that this might end up being a punt spot for New Orleans. They've had so many injuries. Maybe Brandon Ingram gets ruled in and they're able to play everybody a little bit reduced minutes or something. And I guess it is one of those things where Stan Van Gundy loves to just kind of like let his dudes, like he's not going to bring them back till they are healthy. But Zion came right back out of the gate, 35 minutes today like we expected him to. They got beat up in Atlanta. Now they're heading to Brooklyn. I don't know. It feels like an iffy spot. So make sure you're paying attention to that news. Pay attention to the news god over at the Awesemo NBA Twitter account because he will keep you updated on all the happenings and let you know, because I have a feeling New Orleans might get wonky tomorrow. Then we got going down the line, Julius Randle, 9,400 now. 56, put up that triple-double. Obviously, that doesn't give you the bonus on FanDuel, but it's really good on FanDuel because that's 56 fantasy points over there, and it makes you pretty happy. Gets this Boston front court, foul-happy Robert Williams. Way to go today, buddy. And then Domantas Sabonis, 9K. Tougher matchup here now, going up against Minnesota. That was a lie, by the way. Domantas Sabonis, 9K. If he plays, I would have a ton of. Talk to me about the top end of power forward.
Yeah, top end of power forward, I think. Taking a look over there on DraftKings side of things, Jason Tatum was super disappointing. I think going back to him is okay. I know it's been tough with Tatum, kind of pretty much since the All-Star break. This whole team, Boston team, has been super disappointing. I'd rather spend $9,000 to a guy like Zion. I think Zion's probably one of my favorite players on the slate. I think he's going to put on a show in Brooklyn and continue the streak that he's on. He's shooting.
So you think he plays in the back-to-back coming off a thumb injury? I mean, it's a thumb injury. Yeah. It's not a lower body injury. Yeah, I think there's no minutes limit. I think he's good to go. I'd be pretty shocked if he doesn't play tomorrow. Oh, there we go.
It would definitely help him if Brandon Ingram sits out. But even if Ingram is playing, I still think Zion could pay off that price tag. Trying to just ride until he's north of 10K, and it's paid off pretty well so far. So Julius Randle, in that $9,900 price tag on DraftKings. Seems a tad too expensive for me, but he's been so good all year long. If you want to go there, I won't stop you from doing so. Hopping over on the FanDuel side of things, spending up for Zion for me is probably my favorite option to consider. 8,800 Tatum, I like that because you have to roster two. Christian Wood versus Dallas, $7,700. Really, really strong option in my opinion. If Porzingis were to play, $8,400 versus Houston, love it. I prefer all of that, even if Sabonis were to play. I prefer all those guys compared to Sabonis because I don't think if Sabonis were to play, he will have a full limits, full go, just because of that lower body injury, in my opinion. Spending down, guys who stick out of their FanDuel price tag. PJ Washington's now down to 5,200. The guy has been kind of bad.
Kind of bad?
I mean, yeah, there was 2 games where he got mid-20s, but he's been pretty bad.
I mean, he had a game with 50-plus, and I think that's what we've been expecting from him for the last however long. Against Sacramento it was. But
yeah, he put up 66 that night, yeah.
Oh, 65.6, I just saw it. There it is. That's pretty good. Why can't I get that, PJ Washington?
I think you could against Oklahoma City.
Okay, it's a good team to target.
Yeah, so I wouldn't fault you considering PJ Washington at that price tag over there. Spending other guys who stand out at their FanDuel price tag also. I think I know you're gonna lose your mind over this play, but Doug McDermott took 12 shots in 24 minutes. If this game were to somehow stay close, and if you were going to play 29, 30 minutes, he can pay off that $4,200 price tag because I would expect him to take maybe 13, 14 shots. And all he needs is a
That's great. Give me his ownership. Like, what's his ownership going to be?
I don't think it's going to be very low tomorrow. Just
okay, then I'm fine with it. Again, that's the whole complaint I had today. He was 30% owned. Like, do I want to play a 30% owned shooting dependent guy at that number, or do I want to take as many pivots as I want at reduced ownership? That was really my only problem. I don't hate Doug McDermott whatsoever. Like, why not fire him up? Don't you think? Like, if he's going to be 5%, I would be way over the field. That's no problem.
Yeah,
if he's going to be 30%.
I don't think he'll be 5%. I think he'll be somewhere in the teens, maybe a bit higher on FanDuel just because you're forced into rostering 2 over there. But it's definitely not on a play. There's not many guys who stand out or on that price tag outside of Maxi Kleber at $4,400 if there's no Porzingis. Kind of in play even if Porzingis plays, but that's really how things stand over there on FanDuel.
Yeah, and Xavier Tillman. I had more Xavier Tillman questions that I was comfortable with today during Live Before Lock. Now he's up to 4,200. I hope I don't have to field those questions again tomorrow because he's no longer 3,500 on FanDuel. But you ready to take this home at center?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Karl Anthony Towns. I'm going to stay over on FanDuel. I'm going to give them small forward, power forward, center. I'm going to give them some respect today. Karl Anthony Towns, 11,400. Clint Capella is $10,400 on this slate. Nikola Jokic is $10,200. We have Clint Capella, $200 more than Nikola Jokic. That can't be a thing, right? And Rudy Gobert, 8,100 against Phoenix. Robert Williams, 7,600. Very curious what that ownership's going to be coming off of a foul spectacular that he put on with Joel Embiid today. Talk to me about the top end of center.
Cat has to take on the likes of the country of Georgia's finest, Goga Bitadze. It's either you pay up for a Cat or you go all the way down to Goga tomorrow, and that's all I have to say for the center spot.
Okay. Is that's literally it?
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Those two...
Well, also, I was going to say, before the show, you did have a great trivia question if you want to throw that out there for the people. If you want to not Google it and go to the bottom bar and guess what it is, I got one of the three. I'm letting it be known.
Who are the three active players in the NBA that are born in Switzerland?
That were born in Switzerland, yeah. Because
were born in Switzerland, yeah.
One is like cheating. So the other one of them you're not going to get unless you Google it. Two of them I think you can get. I got one.
I think you getting one was really impressive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I felt good about that one. I mean, I just remember him playing for them, but that's just a random memory. The other one, I at least I had an idea, but yeah, they all three play in the NBA for sure. It's just a question of that third one. It's just I'm so mad at you. Continue on.
But Goga Bitadze, both sides, the man over there on DraftKings. I don't expect Turner to play tomorrow. And then he's going to have to prove why he was a lottery pick, right? I believe he was a lottery pick for Indiana. No. $3,900 on FanDuel. And I think other center options to consider. Wendell Carter Jr., 6K, is someone you can take your chances on a matchup versus Washington. Can't fault you there. Someone who played 35 minutes last time, held his own versus Nikola Jokic, put up 42 fantasy points. No issues there. Valanciunas, $6,700 versus Atlanta. Really like that price tag. I'm going to like it even more if there is no Ja Morant. So that's definitely going to stand out the way things stand right now. And another price tag that stands out on DraftKings that I won't have any problems considering also was $7,200 Valanciunas. 10-7 Cat. It's really hard not to love Cat the way he's been playing of late. He's been a monster. Just look at that box score and you're just seeing so many fantasy points. He could easily be the highest scoring player on the slate. He should dominate Goga Bitadze like Nikola Vucevic did today. So definitely love Cat and love being over the field on Cat on both sides.
All right, so Goga Bitadze, he's 21 years old, from Georgia. How about that? He's from Georgia. That's ironic. And nobody knows why that's ironic, because one of those three players that we alluded to before, I believe, plays for Georgia. Am I correct with that? The country of. No? Is that not true? No. One of those three players? Okay, never mind. I was just kidding. Goga Bitadze. Anywho, he was the 18th pick, so just outside of the lottery, which is considered 14 picks. It's just the teams that missed the playoffs from the year previously. I didn't know he was 21. Based on his picture, I thought he was 48 years old. So there is that. So go ahead and fire up Goga.
He's a really talented player.
Yeah, he's good. I liked him last year. He was good to watch last year, or 2 years ago it would have been.
Yeah, he's just barely played for this Pacers team. It's just a logjam in the front court and Sabonis and Turner where they pretty much split 48 center minutes over there. But Bitadze should be able to pay out that salary tomorrow in a matchup versus Cat if he stays out of foul trouble.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very popular. Everybody's going to love playing a 75% Goga Bitadze tomorrow. I know I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it. Any final words for the people, Rayen Patnaik?
Yes, we're having one of our biggest giveaways that we've done yet at the site. If you go to our @Awesemo_com pin tweet, we are giving away a year Awesemo Plus Platinum Pass worth of $1,000. So you'll get access to all our sports, all our data and tools that are offered at the site. And all you have to do is reply with your winner for the Masters and follow the main handle, which is at Awesemo_com, and our golf handle at Awesemo Golf. And like the tweet. That's all you have to do, and you're automatically entered to potentially win $1,000 a year pass. There's nothing better than that. You should wake up and do that right away. Do not miss out on that opportunity because we barely run those. We run those for...
Oh. Just had you cut out there at the very end. We do not run those very often, but yes, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just collect $1,000 of Awesemo. That's what you want to do. That's way better. That's 5x. That's 5x your value from Monopoly. Anywho, guys, this was a blast. Enjoyed it as always. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the NBA Slate Starter. Good luck. We'll catch you then.